Let's talk about sugar. It's kind of everywhere, right? And it can be super confusing. How much is okay? Is the sugar in fruit the same as the sugar in a cookie? Well, we're going to cut through all that noise and get some clear, simple answers.
First, I just want you to look at this number, 17 teaspoons. Why? Because that, on average, is how much added sugar folks in the US are eating every single day. Just picture that for a second. 17 spoonfuls of sugar.
And here's where we really see the problem. We're eating those 17 teaspoons, but what organizations like the American Heart Association actually recommend is, somewhere between 6 and 9 teaspoons. That is a huge difference, and that gap is where a lot of our health concerns really start.
So that brings us to the big questions we're tackling today. What is the real difference between so-called good and bad sugar? And maybe more importantly, how can we get better at finding all the sugar that's hiding in places we don't expect?
Okay, first things first. To get a handle on this, you have to become a bit of a sugar detective. And your number one tool? The nutrition label. Seriously, learning to read this thing is the key to everything.
So when you look at a label, you'll see total sugar, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's all the sugar, natural and added, all lumped together. But right underneath it, you'll see added sugars. That is the one to watch. That's the stuff that was dumped in during processing. That's your target.
And that leads us to this really important idea. Not all sugars are created equal. Where your sugar comes from matters a whole lot.
Think of it this way. On one side, you've got natural sugar, the kind in fruit or milk. It comes with a whole crew of friends, like fiber and vitamins. That fiber is crucial. It's like a brake pedal for the sugar, slowing down how fast it hits your system. This means you get steady energy, not a crazy spike. But then you have added sugars. They show up alone. No fiber, no nutrients. We call them empty calories for a reason. They hit your system like a freight train, giving you that big sugar rush, followed by that awful crash.
So we know we're eating too much of the added stuff. But what does that actually do to our bodies? Let's sort through the real, proven facts and some of the myths you might have heard. First up, the one link that is absolutely 100% rock solid. There is no debate about this in the science world. Added sugar is a major direct cause of tooth decay. The evidence is just overwhelming. Keeping your intake low is one of the best things you can do for your teeth.
Okay, now for the big one. This is the question I hear all the time. If you eat a lot of sugar, does that mean you're going to get type 2 diabetes? Well, the answer is it's complicated. The science doesn't really say that sugar is a direct cause of type 2 diabetes. The biggest risk factors are actually things like your genes and how active you are. But, and this is a really big but, there's a very, very strong connection between sugary drinks and a higher risk. And of course, a high sugar diet often leads to weight gain, which is a huge risk factor for diabetes.
And the list of potential problems doesn't stop there. Again, often related to that weight gain from excess sugar, we see higher risks for things like heart disease, especially from those sugary drinks, fatty liver disease, high blood pressure, and even conditions like chronic pain and osteoarthritis.
So, if we want to cut back, where do we even start looking? Yeah, we all know candy and cake have sugar, but the biggest culprits are usually hiding where you'd least expect them.
Get ready for this. A full half of all the added sugar we consume comes from what we drink. Half. We're talking sodas, sports drinks, sweetened coffees and teas, you name it. This means the single most impactful change you can make is to just rethink what you're sipping on all day.
And now for the really sneaky ones. Would you ever guess that sandwiches make up 7% of our added sugar intake? It's wild, but sugar is often added to bread and condiments. It's also hiding in a ton of breakfast cereals, granola bars, and those flavored yogurts that seem so healthy.
Okay, I know that all might sound a little discouraging, but please don't let it be, because this next part is all about simple, easy things you can do about it. This is your toolkit for cutting back without feeling deprived.
Here are 5 simple swaps you can start with. 1. Drink smarter. Swap that soda for water or a seltzer. 2. Go plain. Buy plain yogurt or oatmeal and just add your own fruit. You will use way less sugar, I promise. 3. Snack on whole foods, like an actual apple instead of an apple-flavored bar. 4. Use those new detective skills. Read the labels and look for low, added sugars. And 5. Sweeten things yourself. You are in complete control of how much goes in.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought. You don't have to change your whole life overnight. That's not how this works. Just look at that list again and ask yourself, what's one small, simple swap you can make today?